viewers, Jeremiah Cruz here with a quick video titled How to Do Candle Love Spells. So warning, if you don't want to learn about hard sciences, if you don't want to learn about the esoteric ancient principles of magic and candle work, then don't watch this video. I just want to give you another perspective of how candle magic works. And so if you're looking for something that's a bit more tactical, this video isn't for you. Alright, and so what I'm going to be doing in this video is going over candle magic, how it works, and what you can do to make your magic work with candles. So stay tuned. In the day, people risked their lives to get candles. The wax was very expensive, and so the only people who had candles was the church. And so people would go and they would steal the candles and do magic work. And so you have to ask yourself, well, why would people go through so much trouble to get a candle? It seems as if it's stupid. You know, back in the day, if you were caught stealing, you would get your hand cut off, or you would be in prison for like 5 years for stealing a candle. But anyhow, let's not digress. And so the reason is because it's incredibly powerful. Candles are incredibly powerful. And the reason that they're powerful because it represents a certain life force. Okay, and so here's where we start getting into the science. All right, and so when people do magic, they do the candles, it allows them to focus, it allows them to meditate, it allows them to visualize the outcome. However, in science, there's something that's called electromagnetism. Electromagnetism. What does that mean? Electromagnetism are two basic forces of nature. And there's electromagnetism, gravity, strong nuclear force, and weak nuclear force. Okay, that's an old paradigm of science. And so what has happened is that electromagnetism and magnetism, or electricity and magnetism, have combined. Okay, so these two have combined, and when they combine, they're twice as powerful. Okay, electromagnetism is the reason why we have computers. Electromagnetism is the reason why we have airplanes. Like all the technology that you see around us is a result of electromagnetism. It's something that makes things much stronger in the science world. So how does this relate to you and your magic? Well, I went over other videos about the Merkaba, and I said that, we as people, we have three phases that we go through depending on which density we're actually living in, okay? And so here on the earthly plane, we have the physical body. And the physical body, of course, is frozen matter, okay? And so when you begin to ascend and go through the densities, rather, your body becomes a soul. It becomes a lifeless form. That's the highest part of who you are. And so when we start to get into things like spirit possessions and meditations and all those things, we align our body with the soul, the spirit. Okay, so we align our body with the soul and the spirit. All right, and so that's what happens when you start to work with candles. Okay, one thing about magic, the way I practice magic, I don't do magic on the physical person. Okay, the physical person is not who I'm doing the magic on. I'm doing magic on the soul. Okay, and the soul consists of photons, billions and billions and billions of photons, which is light energy. And so when I light this candle and the fire starts, that represents the photons. That represents the soul aspect of the body that I'm corresponding with. Okay, that represents the soul aspect of the person I'm corresponding with. Okay, I told you electromagnetism is what brings us all the best technologies. Okay, and so when you begin to align your body with your soul, that's when you begin to become more powerful beyond belief. All right, an example of this is an actual scientific experiment that was done by good old-fashioned Einstein. Okay, and Einstein was actually working with, I think they were photons. I want to say they were photons, but they were particles. I think they were photons, light particles. And, he found something that was really profound, and he actually called it voodoo. He actually called it voodoo, to be honest with you. And he found that when two particles were together, right, they could communicate. All right, and so once these particles were separated, they still could communicate as if they were still together. Okay. Another thing that he found is that these two particles could communicate despite space, despite time. So once something is connected, the connection is always there. And then once they're separated, they still can communicate. Okay, what's that mean? It means that science has just backed up what we magical workers have been doing for years. You never lose a connection with someone. You're always connected to somebody. And the candle represents the connection that you have to that person's soul. Okay? And so when you connect to that person's soul, you begin to connect to their body. You begin to open up those channels and allow the communication to work. You know, what you're doing with the candle is you're opening up the communication channel, so to speak. Okay, so when you start working with candles, you know, pink is for attraction. This one here is a Manifest a Miracle candle, a Reiki candle. Red is for love. This one here is for seduction. Seduction, my favorite topic. So each color of the candle represents something. All right. And so the people who were great at this, of course, were our ancestors. You know, you had hoodoo workers who were able to dress candles. What they would do is they would carve names in the candles. They would carve astrological signs in the candles. You know, they would dress the candles with anointing oils because that was their way of communicating with a person's soul. That was their way of communicating with a person's higher self. Okay, and science has backed this up. You know, science has backed this up, that this actually works. Start charging candles. I guess they call it charging candles in the hoodoo community. You're actually opening up those communication channels with you and the other person. So that means that, you know, you can have a conversation. That person is able to feel what you're feeling. That person is able to understand what you're going through. That person is able to receive messages. Okay, this is something that sounds really crazy, but our ancestors were doing it for a long period of time. This is how they were able to do things like hunt in the dark. You know, they were able to do things such as healing, long distance healing. All right, so that's what the candle represents. Communication. Opening the channels up so we can communicate with people's soul. And it doesn't matter where we are. We can have one person in Timbuktu, another person in Japan, and they still can communicate soul to soul as if they were right there with one another. Okay, so it's pretty cool. Again, you can get these candles. I got them off of Amazon, but you don't have to use these. You can go get your own candles and kind of start experimenting. Okay, and so with that said, I'm going to go ahead and conclude this video. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you would like to see more great videos, please subscribe. If you want to read this article in its entirety, I welcome you to visit my website, clairvoyantmagic.com. Also, if you want to get free spells and free books, I would love for you to sign up to my email list at clairvoyantmagic.com. Okay, so with all that said, I'm going to go ahead and conclude this video. I'm your Mike Cruz. Peace out.